that shit.
I think, yeah.
I have a guest! Yay!
Can you see me? Can you see me?
Yeah, I didn't know what else to do, so... Oh, I forgot I had that. Wrong one. Ah! Urban legends that turned out to be true. What do we have to say about that? Yeah, so I kidnapped this woman. She's gonna do this video with me, and I'm really excited.
Spooky t-shirt for spooky vibe.
I feel like we're too far away. We're too far away from the fucking mic. It's not even gonna, like, pick shit up. Ah! Okay. No, it's fine. If you really have something you want to say, just come.
Boom.
Yeah, get closer to her, because she's gonna need our help in this moment.
I'm gonna fall.
I'm starting the video.
Art haunted house.
Urban legend.
West Hobart is an inner-city suburb located in Tasmania, Australia. As you can probably tell by now, a datura isn't your typical recreative hallucinogen, and there's a reason why it's really only ever used in hardcore spiritual rituals and ceremonies, and sometimes by naive people who have no idea what.
Okay, so are we just fucking? Okay, so they didn't go fucking insane. I mean, they did, but not because of the fucking house. Are we just gonna watch this and it's gonna be about fucking science and flowers? I don't give a shit. Move on.
Nothing.
War Thunder.
Sponsor of this video. As of recent,
It's a fucking ad. It's a fucking ad. It's a fucking ad.
Dummy 8.
It's a fucking ad. It's a fucking ad.
Dummy 8. That's a long
That's
ad.
a long ad,
Cropsey.
y'all.
If you were to somehow go back to the 70s and spend some time in Staten Island, it probably wouldn't take you long to hear about an urban legend of a man named Cropsey. As the story went, Cropsey was a serial kidnapper and killer who lost his son and resorted to stealing other people's children to deal with his grief. According to the legend, Cropsey also had a hook for a hand, scars, burns, and open wounds covering his entire face and body, and a generally horrifying appearance. Considering the mass areas of uninhabited woodlands, it's not all that unexpected that a tale like the legend of Cropsey would make it into the mainstream culture at some point. Unfortunately, this wasn't just a tall tale made up by Staten Island parents to keep their kids from venturing too far into the woods and getting lost. Although the legend has some obviously made-up elements, such as the hooked hand and the horrifying scars and burns, at some point in the early 70s, children in Staten Island really did start disappearing. That's when the line between legend and reality started to blur, and the story of the real Cropsey immediately replaced the urban legend. This is the real story. Andre Rand was a man from Manhattan who was born in 1944 and moved to Staten Island in the late 60s.
He looks like a Muppet.
After working for 2 years at the infamously brutal Willowbrook State School
He
for
does.
Children
He
with
looks like that one
Disabilities,
fucking
Rand was
Muppet. He
arrested
looks like
in
the track man
1969
one.
and served over a year in prison for the attempted attack of a 9-year-old girl.
Nice hair.
As soon as he was released 16 months later, reports started cropping up of more little girls disappearing all over Staten Island, including 5-year-old Alice Pereira, who was playing in her building's lobby when she suddenly disappeared without a trace. Over the next decade, Rand was the prime suspect in the disappearances and deaths of several other young girls in the area. But it wasn't
Honestly, if I look that bad in my missing persons photo, just don't post it. That can't be okay to say. But like y'all.
No.
But like y'all. If I look that bad, don't post me. Just let me go missing. Fuck. $5,000 reward? What was this, the 70s? Dude, $5,000 in the 70s is like what? Dude, that's a lot of money. That's probably equivalent to like $100K now or some bullshit.
Let me do some conversion. $40,000.
$40,000 for this girl. Bitch, you're staying.
40.
Let me tell you, you are staying missing. Because $40,000 to find a child? I sound like a horrible person. I would realistically pay that if that was my kid. But like, did anyone have that amount of money at the time? No one fucking had $40,000 just like lit. I mean, for their kid, I guess they were probably selling shit and stuff, but like, still, $40,000.
That
Oh, I thought this is what we're hung up on.
right.
Like, I feel like this is like the least of our concerns, you know?
But like 40,000.
40,000 is a lot in that time.
That's
$5,000 back then, like, dude, that's a house. That's a fucking house. That's a house. Like, you have your child, but you're homeless now. You know? Yeah, fuck
that.
no.
No.
Until 1983, when he picked up 11 kids from a local YMCA and brought them fast food before taking them to the airport, that he was finally arrested and sentenced to 10 months in prison again.
I'm sorry, you took 11 kids from a YMCA and just, like, didn't... And they just, like, went? Hey, kids, let's go get fast food. How about you teach your fucking kid not to just get in some random guy's car? And also, the YMCA, was the people working there like, yeah, they just left.
This is what
Like, you're all
doesn't
just
make sense
letting
to me.
11 children get picked up?
It doesn't make sense. How?
Was the 70s that unhinged?
There's no way.
I feel like there is a way, though, right? Like, realistically. But also, no.
Was common sense not a thing?
They were smoking cigarettes and saying it was good for them.
Okay, but like, how are kids just getting in cars with anybody?
That's still happening today.
But it's like,
That's still happening today. I can assure you 10 minutes ago, somebody picked up 11 kids from the YMCA. I can almost fucking assure you 10 minutes ago. It happens every 10 minutes. I swear to God. I'm sorry, but let's be realistic here. It's probably frequent.
there's just no way. Like how? Like how are you that like? You don't know it.
No, okay.
You don't know him.
No, let's put it into perspective here. YMCA. How old were these kids, though? He's going for like 5, 6-year-olds.
Also,
Walk
why is
up-
he staring?
You walk up to a 5-year-old.
See, why would
Get
you
my
ever
car.
walk up to a 5-year-old?
Also, he was going to the airport with those children. They caught him at the airport. He went
what
with...
was the mission?
He got 11 children from the YMCA in his car. Already crazy, right? Got them all fast food. Okay. Took them to the airport. What are you gonna do with 11 kids and yourself at the airport?
What was the mission? What was the plan?
There's no ticket for you. There's no ticket for 11 children and one man.
Suitcase them?
Was that possible? Technically, that was possible in the 70s.
They didn't have.
9/11 was not existent yet. You could just bring fucking bombs on.
You could do anything. You could smoke at a plane.
Oh, I missed that.
You could smoke.
I just missed when you could just bring shit on a plane. Like, I want to keep it real. Like, bring a crowbar. Do something. Do a giggle. Like, I'm bored. I want something to happen on that damn plane. Because I'd be bored. Them movies ain't good on the little screens. Like, fuck. Let's go. Let's do something. Shoot a few people. This bitch behind me keep coughing. Like, let's move it. You know?
If this baby kicked me in my back one more time.
And suddenly I'm unemployed. And suddenly I'm not getting into college. That's fine. My
Digital
colleges are
footprint
unemployed.
is nasty.
My digital footprint's already so fried. It's fried.
So we're here.
Throughout the
Where's he
70s and
gotten off
80s,
that?
dozens of young kids disappeared in Staten Island, and although Rand was often the last person to be seen with them, there was ultimately never enough evidence to put him away for a long time. For many years, he would often be seen hanging around young kids, going on walks with them, and even taking them to lunch and dinner with him at local restaurants. After years of letting him walk the streets as a free man, police would finally have a breakthrough in the case in 1987 when they found undeniable evidence that Rand had been behind the disappearance and murder of Jennifer Schweiger, a 12-year-old girl with Down syndrome.
No.
In 1988,
No, don't look at me like that. Please don't look at me like that. Please don't look at me like that. No, please don't look at me like that. No, like I can't. Like I don't want you. Don't stop it. Can we?
$40,000.
Bitch, you look like $2.
Oh!
That is a $2 bill.
Also, how did he only go for 10 months?
The
He
70s? The 70s was crazy.
But he took that many children and they said 10 months. And now you're walking past him on the sidewalk downtown?
Honestly, 10 months is probably incredible compared to the thing bitches get today.
Well, that is true.
Like, you're good. Stop looking at the cam. But also, I hate how I was. You heard me about to say some shit.
Yeah,
And then they said Down syndrome and I backed it up.
so
Like, that's my fault.
clocked it.
Like, I
he was
would've
sentenced to
done something,
25
that's not
years
her
to
fault.
life, and while he was behind bars, more and more evidence was found that tied him to
Look at that
several other
haircut.
disappearances in Staten Island in the 70s and 80s.
Like, he got
Unfortunately, he was only
Ripped
charged
off.
with one additional major crime in 2004, which was the kidnapping of Holly Ann Hughes, thanks to which he will spend the next 13 years behind bars until 2037. If he lives that long, he'll be 93 by the time he gets out. The Maine Hermit. The Kennebec Valley is one of the most beautiful regions in Maine, with over 5,000 square miles of forests, rolling hills, and natural paradise surrounding the Kennebec River.
Right.
Many cabin owners of the North Pond area in the Kennebec Valley have described the area as the most peaceful place on Earth. But it hasn't always been that way. All throughout the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, there were reports of over 1,000 break-ins in the North Pond cabins. For
Damn.
decades, nobody knew
1,000?
who was responsible for the thefts, especially since they were always carried out when there was no one home. As the cabin owners soon noticed, the break-ins seemed to follow a pattern, always peaking in the days before Memorial Day and after Labor Day. As for the stolen items themselves, they ranged from food to cooking utensils to books to propane tanks to toiletries of all kinds. In the absence of a concrete suspect, the locals eventually named the thief the North Pond Hermit, even though by this point there was nothing to suggest the break-ins were being carried out by a single person. Although it wasn't uncommon for groups of homeowners to venture out into the woods to try to find the North Pond Hermit, they never found a trace, which only added to the legend's mystery. One afternoon in 2002, 100 people attended a North Pond homeowners meeting, and when someone asked how many of them had suffered break-ins, almost all of them raised their hands. As you can probably guess, the North Pond Hermit quickly turned into somewhat of a boogeyman, with the legend frequently being shared over campfires in the area. For years, nobody thought that the person or people behind the break.
I'm sorry, can we just talk about the fact that y'all are all sitting around a campfire and the scary story you bring is for a few years now, they've robbed many cabins. Like, many people have been robbed in this area! Like, what? Boo! I have a flashlight on my thing. Robbed! Like, and you know what happened to them? They were peacefully robbed! Like, that's not scary. I mean, if they're described as a boogeyman.
Can't catch the guy. They can't get him. Shut up.
They stole his toiletries! Like, that's not scary. Y'all suck at this.
They took my shampoo.
They took my Dove bar!
Shut up.
Like, y'all cannot be for real. Y'all cannot be for real. Y'all cannot be
break-ins
for
would
real.
ever be found. But in April 2013, a man named Christopher Thomas Knight was arrested in the middle of the woods in the North Pond area by an officer who had made it his sole mission to bring the thief to justice. As soon as he was brought to the police station, the cops asked him why he wasn't answering any of their questions. At first, it seemed as though he was having trouble speaking, but eventually he responded that he was ashamed of himself. As it was later revealed, Christopher had been living out in the middle of the woods by himself in an unheated nylon tent, surviving only on the things he stole from nearby North Pond cabins.
Dang.
Shockingly, he had survived winter temperatures of 20 degrees below zero for years and hadn't been to a doctor or taken any medicine for 3 decades. What's most incredible about the hermit's story is that for the entire time he lived in the woods, he didn't have a single conversation with another human being, except for one time when he ran into a hiker and only said hi. Understandably, Chris had lost interest in keeping track of time, so when he was asked how long he had been in the woods by himself, he replied, since the Chernobyl nuclear meltdown, which took place in 1986. As investigators later found out, he was 20 years old when he decided to become a hermit, just a couple of years after high school, although he never gave the authorities a real reason why he decided to disappear. In all his years of isolation, he went to extreme lengths to preserve his privacy. He never lit fires, only moved at night, and hadn't had any kind of communication with the rest of society for more than half of his life. He'd never driven a car, sent an email, or even known what the internet was until his arrest. Interestingly, as the cops dug deeper and deeper into his story, they realized that his only real possessions were his glasses, which he had been wearing for 30 years and could even be seen in his Lawrence High School yearbook picture from 1984. Everything else, down to his underwear and jacket, had been stolen. After the investigation, Knight was sentenced to 7 months in prison, after which he once again disappeared. According to the cops, he's now living a quiet, peaceful life in rural Maine.
There's no way he was able to get into society after being gone for so
Since the
long.
dude, do you know how fucking like, do you know how lit that is to be like, how long have you been gone? Since Chernobyl. This guy's lit! He said, I don't know,
Missed.
just like 20 years.
Decades.
Decades? And he survived? Also, I'm happy he wasn't sentenced for that long because, I mean, yes, he was stealing, but he low-key didn't have anything. But also, that was kind of his fault.
Right.
Because he got out of high school and went, deuces, and just went and became a hermit. Who the fuck decides, I'm gonna go do this? Yeah, this is life now. I want to do this.
How are you? How are you, Adion? How are you able to be isolated for that long? I have to talk to somebody.
Like, how did he even do that? But also, y'all didn't discover his, like, general...
No one saw that? His shit was everywhere.
I mean,
His shit
he had
everywhere.
a space. And they were like, multiple people have gone searching, but they couldn't find him. He had a place.
It's not like he was living in a tree, motherfucker.
But also, the fact that he went to such lengths to never be, like, found is crazy. He only moved at night. He never lit a fire. It became winter, and he never lit a fucking fire.
That's not real.
He's just been living in one big, like, common cold
That's not
for
real.
half a decade or some shit.
Like,
I don't know.
How do you not know?
How do you come back to no internet? Like those fucking things where it's like you wake up in a coma, you wake up from a coma and COVID's already happened. Like, bro, low-key experienced that.
Just Chernobyl.
Cause like, you
He
just
said,
went.
That's too much for me. Bye.
I'm out.
Hey,
It's-
babe.
It's
you
all
missed
going
a
down.
lot.
He was
You
probably one of
missed.
those people that are like, the world's gonna end because of this. So like, I'm just gonna go.
But then, how did you not know enough time passed to know that, hey, we're still living. We're still
mean,
powering through.
I mean, he obviously probably knew people were still living, but
I
like,
just need to know, did they do a psych evaluation on him?
wait, what's his name? The main. Hold on. Hold on. He spoke in an overly formal manner. Oh my god, he paid $2,000? Where'd he get the money? Completed a co-occurring disorders court program designed for people with substance abuse and mental health disorders. And completed 3 years of probation.
Probation in the woods?
He works
How'd
in
they
an
get a
auto
pee
shop.
sample?
He works in an auto shop? Did they say he'd never driven a car?
Wait, didn't they say he disappeared again?
Well, no one knows.
They said he disappeared again, but then that he lives in rural.
He maintained his
rural
camp and the habits he acquired. Oh, he might have OCD as well. Like, there's gotta be something so...
How Herman-like are you?
Does not show signs of mental illness? How the fuck is that possible? He was secluded for like 27
He isolated
with no
himself.
human contact for 27 years.
And you're telling me you don't have a mental.
You don't have some sort of like slow
You don't have.
capacity to you. Oh
There's
God.
nothing mentally wrong.
At only 20, he had entered the woods saying goodbye to no one. His parents never reported him missing to the police. I had good parents, he said. No, the fuck you don't. Your parent, you just left and it was like, nah. Whatever. We're not emotionally bleeding all over each other. We're not touchy-feely. Stoicism is a... What? At the time of his notoriety, neighbors
His
who lived
mother
near
was
Knight's
only
childhood...
seen a few times.
What the fuck? Living near Knight's childhood for 14 years, they had to say no more than a few words with Knight's mother. Over the next 3 years, Knight changed the location of his camp sporadically out of fear of being caught, settling outside the North Pond Lakes in 1989. Jesus Christ. He would melt snow for, like, holy shit.
The only word he said was hi.
Holy shit. He stockpiled supplies to remain in his camp from November to March to avoid revealing his location by footprints on snow-covered ground.
But there's nothing mentally wrong. How are you at that great
There's
lengths
no
to not
way.
be fat, like to not even like exist?
Also, yeah, Outdoor Survival was saying he might have broken in and taken refuge in vacant cabins. I could see that, because there's no fucking way. In the summer of 2012, Knight broke into a cabin where a man was sleeping. There was no car in the driveway, so Knight thought the building was empty. Neither man saw the other, but the man in the cabin shouted, "Get the hell out of here," at which Knight ran out. That was it.
But they didn't. What the?
Discovered Knight in his camp 2 months before he was apprehended by the police. Had been discovered by the fishermen, but did not mention to the police at the time of his arrest because the group swore a pact not to tell anyone of their meeting after the anglers learned that Knight simply wanted to be left alone. Honestly, good for you. Lit, I guess.
I'm surprised
So
that
he
someone
just, like,
kept that secret because
I would have
most
been,
people would be like,
I would have been
"Oh,
like,
yeah."
oh, I won't tell anybody. And then I'm gonna go and be like, there's a guy out there.
He's weird. He's in the middle of nowhere.
He's in the middle of nowhere. What?
The
And his mother
journalist
did
ate
his
this up. I know that.
saying he was just a show off who went out there and wrote a book saying, "Look how great I am." He lives a quiet life in rural Maine.
As of 2019, COVID probably threw him in a
Dude.
whirlwind.
I don't know. His body was probably like.
Well,
Actually, no. Because if he had no human contact, no
he
virus,
had nothing.
he probably had no immune like preparation
alive?
for that. He must be.
Still,
I mean,
did it not say he was dead?
doesn't say anything.
How?
He
Unless
felt
he's so
bad, saying
secluded
that
that
stealing
COVID
is
didn't get to him.
wrong. Even the prosecutor said a longer sentence would have been cruel. He was unlikely to reoffend. He avoided alcohol and secured a job with... Yeah. Oh my lord. What the fuck? He did offer solitude bestows an increase in something valuable, my perception. But when I implied my increased perception to myself, I lost my identity. There was no audience, no one to perform for. To put it romantically, I was completely free. Huh. So he just...
Likes being by himself?
Maybe he's really not crazy. He might have just genuinely just liked being alone. I mean, I guess he said, to put it romantically, I was completely free. There's no audience, no one to perform for. Because in reality, if you think about it, like, the way we're living, in a sense, is a performance.
That is true.
Because
When
what
you
we're
leave
gonna
the
do,
house-
like, what we're doing, none of this is really gonna matter once we're dead. So, like,
Yeah, that's true.
so, like,
He was just
realistically...
living.
He was living. I don't know. I want to see if would he say anything about like, oh yeah, I loved it, or like I enjoyed it, or
Right, like,
or is he living now and he's like, I don't know why the fuck I did that.
right,
Like that's
like,
my
I missed
question.
So many of my,
Yeah,
I missed
like
so many years.
that's kind of what I want to know. Like, did he? I mean, of course he obviously felt bad about the stealing factor, but like, was that it? Like, is this just what
Because
you
he
were
only
up
did
to?
that to sustain being there.
Yeah, but
That's
like,
the only reason why he did it.
and he just like left randomly. He set up a camp. Dude, what? From a local family's dairy farm adjacent to where he camped. 1,000 burglaries is crazy.
But he was there for
27 years.
like, he was.
But
there.
even with 27 years, think about it.
Well, he said he stockpiled to not be seen.
I mean, yeah, but
So you only
if
have
you're
to hit. You just have to do major hits.
yeah, but 1,000 burglaries isn't how many major. What 1,000 divided by 12? Let's.
Am I on that?
I mean, hold on, wait. If we're doing what's 27 times 12?
Okay.
324. 324 divided by 12. He's doing 27 burglaries a month. So he's doing
Oh, that's a
almost
lot.
one every single day. Like, realistically, that is a insane number.
That is crazy. That's a lifestyle.
27
That's actually a
burglaries
lifestyle.
every day.
That's actually a lifestyle.
Not yeah, or every month. So it'd be about a burglary. You're robbing somebody. Occupations: recluse, non-violent burglar.
He's just trying to sleep, man.
Recluse, like literally,
He's just hungry. He's
like
warm,
he's just trying to
warm.
fucking live.
He's just trying to live.
God damn.
Give him dinner.
On
Why be-
baby.
why be
Dude,
mean?
you know the first time he tasted seasoning, that shit was
Oh.
probably crazy after 27 years.
Oh yeah, he probably got fat. He was already pretty chunky. What was he eating?
Well, that was after.
Hands?
Yeah,
No
I mean, realist. Well, I
No
guess
fire though. How would you? Was it all?
he had gas stoves. Because remember, he'd take
yeah,
the
he had
propane.
the propane. Yeah. Dang, he kind of had it though.
He kind of had the life, I fear.
Let me try it out.
I think I could do it.
I can.
I say as I'm sitting at my 3-monitor setup. Like, no, the fuck you can't.
With your wall.
With my wall of squishmallows.
Wall.
Yeah, I could probably do it. Boom. Like, my whole room is absolute brain rot. Yeah, no, I couldn't do it.
You couldn't survive.
No, I couldn't.
Next time. Next time. Next time.
We spent 30 minutes. That was 30 minutes. If you could just let me do my fucking outro. You do the outro.
Beep beep boop boop.